You must not make mistakes. You are a sovereign by the grace of God," the king declared firmly. The preparations were dragging on, and it irritated him. How could she not understand that there was no other option? Could this Armenian princess really not handle her role? Baudouin de Bourg didn't even want to entertain the thought. The knights from the Western kingdoms who had successfully reached the Holy Land had settled in quite well. New states, counties, and principalities had emerged on the world map, and the most fortunate adventurers had transformed into kings. Baudouin de Bourg, born in the early 12th century, was fortunate enough to become the Count of Edessa. In essence, the county was an autonomous territory, and its ruler held all the rights of a true prince. The main trouble with this new position was the Turks, who frequently raided Edessa's lands. Prince Gabriel of Armenia faced similar problems. He ruled the neighboring Principality of Melitene, which was small and not strong enough to stand alone against the invaders. To safeguard himself from the Turks, the prince proposed a peace treaty to Baudouin, along with the hand of his daughter. Princess Morfia, by the standards of 12th century Europe, was not considered a desirable match, especially for the Count of Edessa, who had suddenly found himself on equal footing with the princes of the West. Although Baudouin de Bourg did not have royal blood, he could now aspire to marry the daughter of some king. However, the kings were far away, while the Armenian prince was much closer. It was more convenient to face the infidels with his company. So, after a moment's thought, Baudouin agreed. The marriage alliance was formalized, and the happy father paid a dowry of 50,000 gold bezants. This was a sum that not every European ruler could afford. The daughter of Prince Gabriel suddenly seemed even more attractive to Baudouin. To be honest, the new Countess of Edessa did not fit the Western ideals of beauty. She was dark-skinned, short, and slightly plump, but she had luxurious hair and striking eyes. The newlyweds barely understood each other. Morfia spoke little French, but she behaved impeccably and with great respect. However, the alliance between Baudouin and Gabriel did not benefit either of them. The Turks defeated both. The count was captured, and his father-in-law was killed. The Crusaders did not come to their aid. After driving the Turks away, their leader, Tancred of Taranto, took Edessa for himself and proclaimed himself count. Morfia, who was pregnant with their second daughter, the first had been born 2 years earlier, tried to protest. She was shown the door. They told her she could continue living in her home but must not dare to think about the title of countess. Nevertheless, the Armenian princess had learned French well and wrote to her husband's relatives. Jocelyn de Courtenay, Baudouin's cousin, rushed to their aid. He paid the ransom for his brother and helped secure his release. Now free, Baudouin was eager for revenge. He decided to reclaim his county and began negotiations with Byzantium. At the same time, he engaged with the Turks, aided by Morfia, who spoke the language of their recent enemies fluently. With the help of new allies, Baudouin de Bourg ousted the usurper in Edessa and triumphantly rode into the city alongside his radiant wife. For several years, nothing marred the count's life. Morfia bore him 2 daughters, and Edessa flourished. But then the king of Jerusalem unexpectedly died, and since the rightful heir to the throne was in France at the time, it was decided to elect another king on the spot. Baudouin's candidacy was met with enthusiasm. Baudouin went to Jerusalem without Morfia. He needed to ensure it was safe first. The coronation took place in Bethlehem. Once again, it was from ship to ballroom, or rather the other way around. He had to head off to war once more. There was no peace for him. For about another year, he couldn't see his wife. The arrival of the Queen of Jerusalem happened a little later, and Morfia was immediately crowned. Now she could be considered the equal of Western sovereigns. However, the threat of Muslim invasion still loomed. While he was away fighting, Morfia governed Jerusalem. She officially held the title of regent, corresponded with European kings, and handled all important matters on her own. Baudouin tried to strengthen the kingdom's borders, but the odds were against him. A couple of years later, he was captured again. This time, it was Morfia who initiated negotiations for his release. She managed to arrange a swap. She left their youngest daughter, Iovita, as a hostage with the Muslims, and Baudouin regained his freedom. The girl was held in the fortress of Chazer, and it took 2 years to ransom her for 8,000 dinars. The proactive Morfia had already married off their second daughter, Alice. The princess's husband was the Prince of Antioch, but her days were numbered. Queen Morfia of Jerusalem passed away. With no son to inherit the throne, Baudouin proclaimed his eldest daughter as his successor. The third daughter later married the Count of Tripoli, while only Iovita chose to renounce worldly life and entered a convent. The Armenian princess Morfia, who became the Queen of Jerusalem, was buried in the Abbey of St. Mary.